What if you could start an entire business based on one simple checklist that you make with AI? Yes, this is an actual business model that works. I've used it many times. But before we get started, I don't want you to go out there and think you're going to fire up AI, make a checklist, and make tons of money overnight. That's not how this works. In fact, the vast majority trying to make money online with systems like that make nothing. So what we're going to look at is how to build a real business based on data, based on facts, and based on something simple that we can start with. Because far too many people trying to do affiliate marketing and starting businesses online, they struggle with info overload. And the reason is the decision in the niche making process. So today, we're going to cut out all that info overload and we're going to get to actually what works. We're going to talk about data. We're going to talk about serving a market with a direct path based on what they're searching for and what we know they actually want. This is super important. And if you follow the lines from what they want to what you create to building a business, that is where the magic happens. And I've used this strategy many times. The first time I used it way back before AI was back in the year 2001, and I was able to build a pretty good business. The first year we did like 67,000, the second year we did 100,000, and then it just grew from there. And I was a 20-year-old who didn't really know what I was doing, but I did know that if I based something on fact, it would work like crazy. Think about it like this for a minute. We've all gotten flyers on our door from the local realtors. And most of the time it's like a notepad, a calendar with the picture of the realtor, and then it says a phone number. Nothing really concrete. What if instead your local realtor sent out a checklist for what to do if you wanted to sell your house and an estimate of what you'd actually get? This is value first marketing. This is why the checklist model works like crazy. That checklist would get a lot more leads, make a lot more sales, and at the end of the day, the realtor would be a lot more successful. And it all happens from a simple shift. So while so many people are out there trying to create blogs and countless videos and faceless channels and all these things that are related on a broad niche and giving information they think is value, that's not always the best way to go. So today, we're going to focus on one simple thing. Making a checklist that people actually want using AI and then turning that into a full-fledged business. And I'm going to show you everything right here, right now. So smash that like button and let's go to work. All right, now in this video, we're gonna have two different prompts that I'm gonna give you. I'll show you where to get these in just a little bit. These are prompts that are basically like magic to AI. I actually tested it out this morning and I've been using it for a couple days actually. We went through and tested the new version on an affiliate marketing checklist, which is really cool. And I wanna show you the results here because this thing was robust. Now, I don't know if I'm gonna use this entire thing. I'll probably chop it up into several different checklists, but this is something that's actually very, very good and profitable. And what I did is I had it look at specific places where people are asking questions so that we're getting a checklist that actually helps them. Now, in the beginning of this training, I had talked about how a realtor could do this, and instead of having like, hi, I'm Bob, the local realtor, they could have, hey, you want to sell your house checklist? The average house in your area is going for X amount. Here's how to get the most out of your house and see if it's worth selling, or whatever it is, something about value first. Now, looking at that, we can see that people looking for getting house ready to sell checklist or preparing your house to sell or selling your house checklist, this is actually getting 1,600 searches a month. Now, while that might not seem like a lot, selling a house is actually a very, very expensive market. Like, we just bought this office house and it wasn't cheap. But going through and looking at that, you don't need a lot of traffic. Now, also, what we want to pay attention to is the amount of people that are paying attention in your market enough to actually look for a checklist, right? If you have a market here and you say, okay, right now, I think they say like 500,000 more people are selling their house than actually buying it, how many of those people are looking for sell your house checklist? Very, very few. Now, how many people would benefit from a sell your house checklist? Well, pretty much all of them. All the people selling their house could benefit from a checklist. Same with affiliate marketing. If we go out here and we look at affiliate marketing, and we look at our checklist, we can see here that there are people looking up affiliate marketing checklist. I got a lot of examples we're going through, so sit tight. We'll show you this in just a minute. This one here is affiliate marketing checklist. We could see there's only like 50, 30 people a month searching for it, which is really, really low. However, if we type in the word affiliate, we got 219,000 people a month searching for this term. So of the global amount of people, I want you to keep in mind, even though they're not specifically searching for it, we're basing it on data in a market that will want a checklist, in a market that's very broad, that we can go out there and give something to. This is super, super important. Now, when we get into this, again, I want you to realize that I've made lots of money with this checklist business model. However, the vast majority of people, our disclaimer here, is that most people trying to make money online make nothing. This is a business. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of effort. You got to get traffic. You got to convert the traffic. It's a big thing. Now, I'm going to show you the best ways that I know how to do this and the ways that I've been doing for 25 years based on that simple checklist and now based on AI and social media, because now we can drive instant traffic to our checklist. Back when I started, it was harder to get instant traffic. You could get some instant traffic, but it's not like today. Today, you could set something up and it's fairly inexpensive. Back in the old days, you had to pay money if you wanted instant traffic. Now, anyone and everyone can get traffic. That's not the hard part of affiliate marketing. So going through here, we want to look at this like a business. Our checklist is our starting point to get people into the other stuff. Now, when we go through and we look at this, I want to show you people are looking this up. So let's say we have like an SEO checklist. SEO is people who want to rank at the top of Google. Now, looking at the term SEO, if we were to go over to something like SpyFu or the Google AdWords tool and look at what people are paying for SEO service as a keyword, it's astronomical. They're paying a lot of money. So having a checklist that's actually used in this market will get you traffic in a market where people are paying a lot of money. Same with the real estate one. Realtors that put their notepad and their picture on the thing and say, call me, the amount of calls they get per house that they put the notepad on is very, very low. Using the checklist example, it'll be higher, thus drive traffic more traffic, and it'll make more money in the long run. So starting to understand this and say, oh wow, this is like a door into a market that seems competitive, but if I have something valuable, it's not going to be that competitive. Now, looking at some other markets, you could see here affiliate marketing. You could see here client onboarding checklist. This is for people that are, maybe getting new dental clients or SEO clients or whatever it is. Very, very important, and they're looking for checklist. Here's one for starting a personal training business checklist. All right, there's 20 people a month searching for it. That's very low. However, if you do like starting a personal training business without the word checklist, you're going to see, okay, again, the amount of people searching for this is much higher. If you even do like start personal training or even personal training business, now it's going up and up and up. So if we were to go through and use something like this, first, what we want to do is choose the right market. We want a market that's going to have a big payoff, right? I want something that's going to be really big, like a wedding. Okay, I could get them into a wedding planner or maybe a wedding rewards credit card or a loan or something like that that's really going to focus on what they want. Super important. We're going to look at the difference between high profit versus low. Now, a lot of people are going to tell you, take your checklist and go sell it on Etsy or something like that. I think that is a big mismanagement of the traffic. While there are people that I was looking at in research that are making a good living selling checklists on Etsy, it's not the vast majority, and it does take a little bit of luck and skill and positioning and first to market. Whereas if we have a checklist and we put it in front of the right people who want it, we can get traffic and we can funnel them into things that make us a lot more money. Having the checklist is kind of the top of the funnel thing. And what we're going to do is we're going to pair that checklist with something else so that we can build the business around it. Again, this is going to take some work and some effort, but at the end of the day, I think it's going to be a much more straightforward plan than some of the other stuff you're looking at. So first, we're going to choose the right market. We want to choose a market that has a good back end. Going through and doing like Thanksgiving food checklist, probably not the best because there's not really a big payoff there. I mean, you really can't sell them a turkey or something. However, a first food checklist, this could work. Now, it's getting into like health kind of stuff, so I'd probably stay away from it. But that one could work because then you can get them into like, insurance and all kinds of things like that tie into it. However, looking at other things like maybe going through and doing like a hospital bag checklist for people that are expectant mothers, or a wedding planning checklist or something like that, or how to start the business checklist. These are ones that are super high profit margin. You can even do something like this. Watch this one. If we were to do franchise checklist, if we could spell correctly, that would really help. Checklist, right like this. We could see franchise checklist is actually, okay, so we got like 20, 30, 30. There's quite a few. So finance audit, finance startup. So these are people looking for finance checklist. The competition's pretty much non-existent. Here's someone looking for, checklist items for first-time franchise buyer. And again, if you were to go through and look at franchise, something like this, you're going to see, there's a lot, like how to start a franchise opportunities, stuff like that. These are very big. So again, we are looking at the big market. The amount of people searching for checklists just shows us that they want it. The big market shows us, hey, there's money there. And of course, buying a franchise is not cheap. Franchise leads, stuff like that leads to a high profit margin thing. So first, what we do is choose the right market, and we want one where people, like at least 50 people a month, are searching for checklist, and at least like 5 to 10,000 a month are actually searching for the term, unless it's something very, very specific, like client onboarding or personal training or something like that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to look at the high profit versus the low. Could I go out there and sell my checklist for $7? I could. Is that really going to help me? Maybe, maybe not. I kind of want the high profit margin stuff. Like I want like the end of the road lead for the franchise thing, or I want someone who's interested in starting a personal training business or something like that. Then you can get them into something much, much bigger. So looking at the high profit versus the low. Now, third, we want to look at why they work. Why is this going to work so well? Well, as I mentioned with the real estate example, this is value first marketing. The value of a checklist is oftentimes much higher perceived than just like here's a report or a guide or something like that, because what it's doing is it's walking them through it. Now, as we get into it even more, what I can do is I can have an online checklist that they can click. I can have it generate a score, and I can even have it like email them the score. I can have it go through and generate a lead, or something I'm going to talk about in just a minute is I'm going to get them into a custom audit. Like, hey, if you're looking to start a franchise, fill out this form. I will help you with it. Obviously, make sure you know what you're talking about in your niche. I wouldn't go into the health niche because I'm not a doctor, right? So stick in your lane, and if you're not in a lane make sure you're willing to learn it, and make sure it's a low risk, low level type thing, like, something like affiliate marketing. Okay, that checklist is going to be pretty simple. Something like franchise, not very difficult. It's pretty basic. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at why it works, and then we're going to talk about how to make a business from it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start a domain name, a website. I'm probably going to use WordPress, and I'm going to go through and create a business around this checklist. Make an opt-in page. So what it's going to look like is I'm going to have my checklist, okay? And let's go here. And what it's going to be is the ultimate checklist, right? I want the ultimate checklist. So if we have an ultimate checklist for selling your house and getting the most money for your house. Okay, here's our house here. Sell your house. And we go through and we have this ultimate checklist that's like, hey, this is stuff that other realtors and other people don't think to put in the checklist. Ours is better. Here is why. Why is the key. Here's why ours is better, because I'm going to help you figure out the bottom line money. I'm going to figure out how to sell. I'm going to figure out how to price it right. All of this stuff would be really good. You want to spend time making this checklist as good as you can. And then when you think it's perfect, get ready, because you can always improve it, and we are going to. Now, going through here, what we're going to do is we're going to use this prompt that I have right like this. Let's open up a new Claude. We'll do Gemini, and we'll do ChatGPT. What this is a JSON prompt. There's 2 prompts you're going to get here. And also, I'll show you where to get a list of the checklist keywords. I think I have like over 1,000 of them, and we'll show you where to get that as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to type in our niche. So let's do getting ready to sell your house financial checklist to get the most money and sell quick. Then what we're going to do is we're going to put in that prompt. Now the prompt has something in it where it's actually going to go through and it's going to give us why would someone want this. What we want is the ultimate goal. Nobody wants a sell your house checklist. They want their house to be sold. Nobody wants a clean your house checklist. They want their house to be clean. Looking at this is super important. We are looking at the end result. What is it they want? Do they want to go to the gym and lift weights and get all tired? No, they want to get ripped and lose weight. That's what they want. So we're going to look at that, and this prompt is going to help us. So we'll go through and we'll put the same prompt in Gemini, right like this, copy and paste, boop, right like that. And then I could probably copy this into ChatGPT as well. So now going into ChatGPT, let's go with auto. We'll let it automatically choose which one's best. Now, going through, you're going to see that Claude, Gemini, and they're going to think about this in a different way because this is a really, really robust prompt. I wanted to go through, I wanted to look at things that people are struggling with on forums and Reddit and things like that, and then create the mega checklist. So here we have this here, prepared financial assessment. This is about understanding your financial picture before you commit to selling. That's pretty good. Net proceeds. This is what I want. This actually thought ahead of me, so I didn't even need to think about it, which would mean, ergo, I don't even have to be that smart to make a really good checklist. Now, we're going to do a couple more passes here to make this better, which I'll show you in a minute. And we can see here, this one's thinking, ChatGPT is thinking, and it's already started with a checklist. So now we're looking pretty good, okay? Now we're going to go through and we're going to build a business around this, thinking about what the end result would be. And again, this takes work, it takes effort, but I think it's a very straightforward way to go, even though like the vast majority of people trying to make money make nothing. This is going to focus you on something that, you know, the data shows if you continue with it, it should get something. You should be able to get traffic and test. And that's what we want, is like that first taste of like, oh, people went to my site and downloaded this thing. Yay, good. Now I just need to get more people and then focus on the back end and how I'm going to do it. And we're going to talk about how prompt number 2 is going to get you traffic. This is all built in, right? I'm going to go through, I'm going to get a good domain, I'm going to build this up, and I'm going to make content around my checklist, because naturally content around the checklist will sell the checklist, which is pretty simple. So now going through here, we're going to do this. So we have curb appeal, flooring updates. These are things that people worry about, which is good, because this will actually help with the content part. I may or may not include all of these, but it will go through with the content part and kind of look at it. So now let's see how Gemini's doing. Pretty good. What I'm going to do after Gemini is I'm going to say, let's drop down to Canvas, and I'm going to say, now let's make it a nice looking HTML, okay? That way it makes it like a web page, and we can go through to use it for stuff later. We can also create a document, a PDF, or something like that, which would be very cool. Now, with ChatGPT, it has a main checklist, hierarchy with checkboxes. So we have defined success metrics. What do they want? Target list price, all of that. Now, we can go through and say, now let's make this a tool, HTML, for my website with little calculators. Okay, and then we're going to drop down to Canvas here, so it'll do the actual code and we'll be able to run it and see what it looks like. And what we're going to be doing is building this out so it looks pretty good. Now, as we go through in Claude, as you can see, it's doing this checklist. What we're going to do next is we're going to give it the next prompt just raw as is, and it'll understand it based on the first prompt. So this is like prompt stacking, which works really good. And then we're going to go through and, okay, I think it's still going. We're going to paste prompt 2 in here, and it should do pretty good once it's done here. Excellent. So now what prompt 2 is going to do is it is designed to come up with social media content ideas, video ideas, blog post ideas, all around the audience that would want this checklist, and pre-made to get people to the checklist. So if I make 50 TikToks, I'm not just talking about, oh, hey, real estate's good, sell your house. No, I'm like, hey, step 49 is make sure that this is in line for before you sell your house. Then that's going to naturally be part of the checklist. right? And I don't even have to be on camera. I could just go through and be like, here's a checklist, here's part 49, here's why this is super helpful for you. Super important stuff. Now, going through even more, we're going to go and look at this here and see what this looks like. So now we're going to put in that traffic prompt, and we're going to use that to promote this stuff here. Okay? And you can see it's got like Zillow and Redfin. Let's see how the preview is looking over here. Looks like it's still going. And over here. So here we have the ultimate financial checklist for selling your home. Target audience, estimated time, difficulty level. So this is like pretty robust. This is one that's going to take them through quite a bit. Now, what I want here, this might not be the final checklist. I'll probably whittle it down a little because 4 to 8 hours is kind of crazy. But going through here, we could see critical, core process, optional, and all we have to do is make content on each part, which is great, right? So we could go through and be like, here's how to navigate the post-offer period. Here's how to select a real estate agent if you want one. All of this stuff is really good. Here's how to set the right price, okay? And we could go through and say, make it more robust like the first one. All right, now let's see how Claude is doing with our traffic methods. All right, and it looks like it's doing pretty good. Complete content idea library, house selling financial success. I mean, do you guys see how this is like, oh, it's all fit in. There we go. Now I can go through and sell some like for sale by owner, how to sell your house course, or whatever it is that ties into this. If I was doing this for affiliate marketing, I could sell affiliate marketing course. If I was doing this for wedding stuff, I would find wedding offers. If I was doing this for, maybe we go through like the personal training or the franchise one. Maybe I'll have a site about how to choose a franchise, and I can run ads and all kinds of stuff. Client onboarding, or even the personal trainer one, or SEO, right? Having that back end of how it works is key. Then what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the lead flow and conversions. There's 2 ways to do this. Very important. So going through here, obviously, make sure you have the right disclaimers and everything like that, privacy policies, affiliate disclosures. Make sure you do all that so that you're doing this ethically and on the up and up. Now, going through here, we can see 400 content ideas. Foundational education, how-to, problem solving. It even put them into content buckets, which if you've been around content marketing for a while, this literally is like setting up the building blocks for us to make a business around our checklist, build a mailing list, and now the mailing list becomes our business. More about that in a minute. There's 2 videos in the description that talk about this in detail. One was Wednesday's live stream, which went through the value-added affiliate, and the other one was Monday's video, which was about using Manus to generate leads, which is fantastic. You can see here, it generates leads and even helps me talk to the leads. More about that in the video in the description. Now, going through here, let's take a look at what they look like. So what is home equity and why it matters when selling? That's a great video topic. Home equity versus home value, the difference explained. How much equity do you need to sell? I mean, these are fantastic. And then all you need to do is be like, you know, whatever, go to my home checklist site and get the checklist and see if it's right to sell your stuff, right? Why 10% equity isn't the magic number for home sellers. Okay, that's pretty good. The complete guide to calculating your equity. This is actually looking really, really solid, which is great. So looking at this and understanding this is key. So this is literally our content plan. I would just need to go through and make good content. How to do your own comparative market analysis. That's perfect for our checklist. And this will even give us ideas for more smaller checklists that we can get people into as well. So excellent stuff. This is building the business. This is going out there and giving something of value people are going to want, they're going to opt in. And by nature of having a checklist, they're going to trust you as the resource, which is great. Now, we can go through and finalize these even more later, look at the different keywords and things like that. I think right now Claude is kind of nailing it. Let's see what Gemini does if I give it this prompt as well. And we'll also check ChatGPT. So here's our preview. Okay, this is pretty fancy. I like that it has the little calculators. This is fantastic. Now again, we could go through, we can run ads on this, we could do affiliate offers on this, we can even have a lead form, right? If you're a local realtor and you just want to do this for, your local area, you just put call me to sell your house or something like that, and they're going to use the tool and they'll like the fact that you had this here, right? Here's seller net proceeds, average cost. And again, think about the fact that I didn't even think about this. This literally built it on its own without me even thinking. Let's go ahead and ask it how to promote this. Let's see what comes up here. And I'll try not to spill coffee all over the place. We will try very difficult. All right. Now we'll go through and we have the Ultimate Home Sellers idea. So this has 250 ideas. So it is doing a good job. This prompt is big time. We're going to show you where to get this prompt over at AIProfitScoop.com. We'll have it available with the keywords and the other prompt as well. That way you can go out there and you can use this. And if you decide you want to work with me, you can figure out how over at AIProfitScoop.com. But I want to show you like, hey, you can do this stuff. This is something you can build. You just need to focus on one thing. This is why one product is good. One checklist, one lead format is good. Where people are going out there and trying to make these gigantic blogs, which is good, but they don't have that starting point of like, oh, I'm starting with this value added checklist first. That's where the rubber meets the road. That's how this is going to work well. Now, when we go to get traffic, the tool will tell us what to do. Like here's some YouTube tutorials, some blog tutorials, and this is what we would make our faceless content about. Maybe you go out there and you do like a get out of debt checklist like we had with Bernadette. She was on the show talking about how she made these little tools and built an entire, financial advisory type business or something like that. Now, she obviously is very studied in that. I wouldn't go into it if you're just looking for a niche, right? Find something simple. Start with something simple. That's the problem is people are starting way too difficult. They're like, hey, I'm going to take on this giant company. No, you're not. Oh, I'm going to sell 3,000 items on my blog. Well, why don't you try selling one first or try giving away a checklist first or something like that, right? Going through and looking at this, here's some resources. It's fantastic. This is literally giving us the roadmap. Now, again, a roadmap doesn't mean you're going to get where you want to go. You're not going to get rich overnight. Most people, vast majority, make nothing. But this is a roadmap that you can follow. And what I would say do is start with things very close. What you're going to do is say, okay, I have my checklist. Can I start with things very close to that checklist? Okay, here we have our checklist. This is our giveaway. Could I start with something like a little calculator? Yeah, I could do that. I could make a video on the calculator, point back to the checklist. I could do a blog post about how the checklist helps. Okay, cool. Or even how to fill it out. Things like that are very, very key. And when you start very close, you're going to get some traffic. It might not be a ton overnight, but it'll be something. And something is what's going to keep you going. And then you branch out your circle later, branch out your circle later. Pretty soon, you can tackle the big topics. This is why people that want to build a YouTube channel struggle. They're like, oh, I know, I'll do a video like this famous YouTuber. Okay, well, he earned his keep to get where he's at, right? Like Mr. Beast started with little videos based on data that people looked at, and then he graduated, and now he can make a video about anything, and it goes crazy. But he earned that. We need to earn it. And the way we earn it, look at search data. Look at what people want. Focus on value. Focus on things that are working. Focus on stuff that we know is actually working. If you're going to go make a video, look at other videos in your niche that are talking about checklists or talking about these little things. You can even go through and next say, and I'll get you another prompt. We'll give you another prompt in this. I haven't created it yet, but this is what it'll be based on. We'll go through and say, now make a glossary specific to this stuff. Okay? And then it'll do a glossary of like, here's the things you need to know when selling your house. I can do the glossary method, which works like crazy, and it'll get all those terms. And since people look up those terms, like above market pricing, right? You don't look that up. It's not like above the supermarket pricing. It's specific to real estate. So if I do above market pricing, okay, this is like probably the biggest flaw realtors ever make, is pricing too high. You could see here, above market pricing, there's 20 searches. Now, that's not a lot, but if I was to go over to YouTube and look at it, again, it's the amount of people who are actually searching versus the amount of people that are selling their house that need the info. I could see, here's a guy, how to price your home, above market pricing. So these are getting some views. It's not a ton. It's like in the 2,000 range. I think if you focused good, it could work really well. Or you could even do something like newsworthy. Right now, the Fed is talking about lowering the rate. How to price your house with the Fed rate or whatever. That will get you some traction. Then you send them to your checklist, and bada bing, bada boom, you build and you grow and you make this stuff work. It is super straightforward, and that's why it works well. Now, with the lead flow conversion, what you're going to do is you're going to take people from one thing to another. Now, we could go through, if you're creating a bunch of content around your stuff. So let's say you're doing the free traffic method, okay? You're going out there, you're doing social media, you're doing blog posts, you do a press release about your checklist and how it applies to whatever's newsworthy, okay? Free traffic method, I'm going to go through and I'm going to say, let's get them to opt in. So they'll come to the site, they'll put their name and email, then they'll go on your list, then they'll get the checklist. Then you can email them things of, oh, hey, are you still thinking about selling your house? Here's some tips, here's a course, here's that. That's where you're going to go through and make your money. You can also have a thank you page that says thank you, check the email, but first check out these offers, okay? If you want a head start to selling your house, check these things out. Make sure they're ethical, make sure they're good, make sure you disclose you're an affiliate if you're doing affiliate marketing, or instead of having a thank you page like that, you can have a thank you, and this is the big kahuna. We're going to have a thank you that is the free audit. This is the magic. Hello, thank you for requesting your checklist. It's on its way to your email. By the way, if you're serious about selling your house, fill out this form for a free house price audit, or a wedding planning audit, or a bills audit, or whatever it is that is tied to whatever that checklist is. They are going to want this because this is extra value and a human looking at it. How many of you guys, you go out there and you're like, I wish a human would look this over and see if it's any good and see if it'll work. We do that with affiliate marketing, where I audit people's ideas and help them with it. It is something that works like crazy. Again, check out the video from Wednesday that is all about the value added affiliate. Then what's going to happen is you're going to focus on high ticket sales. So if I have like, should you open a personal training business audit, that is going to get people in, and then I could partner with someone who helps people start personal training businesses or gets loans for them or whatever it is, and sell high ticket stuff related to whatever that niche is. And if you do it with an audit and you actually respond to them and help them and focus on like, how can I get them in? That's where the magic happens. Look at every business guru that's out there. They started with data, they started with leads, they built and grew, and now they're out there teaching stuff, right? That's pretty much the cycle of what happens for a lot of people. But what everyone forgets, they look at the glamour, they're like, look at Gary Vee and all his fancy talk. Well, how does he start? He started with his little wine library that was based on search. That's why it worked, that's why it catapulted. If you're starting, we need to look at how people started, not where they're at today. Look at Alex Hormozi, okay? Oh, you made $100 million. How did he do it? How can I get it? Well, first he started by helping gym owners. Ergo, that's one of the niches we're talking about here that you can get people in. He was in there doing the work. Very important. Understanding that high ticket sales come from very specific things. I have a tax accountant who makes little tools based on tax accounting, gives a free audit. He's selling customers. Just yesterday, he said he made like $32,000 just from that thing I taught him a couple months ago. Now again, he has a full business. The odds of you making a checklist and making $32,000 are pretty much nothing. Most people make nothing. He has a back-end business that's already there. What I'm showing you is this is where you start your business. Start with something like a checklist. Start with something small, something value added, something that you can help people with, something based on data. Look at the data, understand what people want. Now, looking at this, now we have a glossary. I can go out there. I had 400 content ideas. Now I got, a couple hundred more with the glossary. And these are things people will look up. Capital gains exemption. Okay, capital gains is something very big when it talks about buying houses. This is big, is huge. Huge, huge, huge. You would do a real estate capital gains. Like, how does it work? I think it's like anything under 250 or 500. It doesn't apply to it. I don't know. I'm not an expert in that. That's why I'm not in that niche. But going through and understanding that is key. Is it smart to sell your house? Should you sell it or rent it? All these things would help people, and that's what we want to look at. So checking this out, again, we're going to have the prompts I will have all 3 prompts. I'll have the first one that makes the checklist, the second one that gives you the content ideas for the checklist, and then the last one that will give you the glossary for it. Looking at these is a great starting point. Again, this is a starting point for people who are serious about building a business. For those of you that are like, I'm going to make a checklist with AI and go retire on the sand with, my heels clicked up and my glass of, whatever you like to drink, that's a myth. But can we do this actually practically? If you like that kind of stuff, type practical business advice as a comment below. Smash the like button, check out the videos in the description, and I'll see you in the next training.